Back Home and Up to Our Ears. March 14, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. My whirlwind trip to the lower 48 was a working vacation, if it was a vacation at all, and like all such vacations, the work back home just piled up, and up, waiting for me to get back and deal with the desk and tables full of mail. So my first day home was a clean and sort and get caught up day. A special thank you to my friends in Florida who sent the white snowflake Afghan. It's beautiful, and still very much in season with the 8-foot berms of glistening pure white snow outside my window. While the rest of the country is already enjoying blossoms and birdsong or at least a moderation of the winter, we are still deep in snow for another month or two. Consider this a big ha-ha to global warming caused by the 35 one-thousandths of 1% of carbon dioxide making up the atmosphere. If I could, I would shove that fact up the rump of every cleric at the Vatican and every member of every EU government and all the idiots in Washington, D.C., too. Maybe if we all spread that flying factoid around, we can hear an end to proposed carbon taxes and other noxious self-serving bunk from government mouthpieces. And while we are at it, perhaps we can also put an end to the ignorant blather claiming that we are deep in debt. No, dears, we are not in debt. The U.S. Inc. is in debt up over its ears because of dishonest accounting practices, but that has nothing to do with us, Americans. We are the ones owed the vast bulk of that U.S. debt. So that's a light switch on reality, too. Not only is carbon dioxide not causing global warming, America isn't in debt, and not facing any national emergency because of any moron virus pioneered by Queen Bess's Kinetic, Inc., and her Pirbright Institute, Inc., and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, either. Please get this information to President Xi so he can stop shadowboxing. We know who is at the bottom of the 10th pandemic declared in the past 20 years, and no big surprises here, the Brits are at the bottom of this viral dog pile, too. Just look at who owns the patents to this novel virus. And now you know who is responsible for all your personal and business losses. Feel free to sue the living daylights out of all of them. No, we are not facing or claiming or declaring any national emergency here in the actual America, though Mr. Trump may give away his power to the UN all he likes, he is only speaking for the members of the United States of America, Inc., a British territorial corporation in the business of providing governmental services. Our government, the United States of America, the unincorporated version, isn't subject to the whims and political weaknesses of our hirelings, doesn't have any obligations to the UN, does not recognize any obligations created for us by the Pope or the Queen apart from a strict interpretation of our well-publicized contracts with them known as constitutions, and no intention of running scared, allowing quarantines on our soil via any non-existent power of medical martial law, or allowing any forced vaccinations of our people, either. We are not cattle and we will not wear ear tags. If we catch the Queen or the Pope or the UN promoting any secretive program to institute their mark of the BEAST program in this country, we will sue them silly. As the Queen and her numbnuts caused this whole moron virus problem for the world and everyone in it, the Queen can pay for all of it, too. Make sure that she does. Not a penny of the billions spent is to be ledgered against our accounts. In this way the Queen will be encouraged to ride herd on her minions and cease and desist causing problems for innocent people and other countries. If the UN wants to make itself useful, it can bring complaint against the British government and Bill Gates for violating the peace, causing death and disease, obstructing trade, and attempting to claim the existence of powers and delegations never granted to it by our government, for example, all emergency powers and war powers and ability to proclaim such a thing as medical martial law. Everyone at the United Nations can read. Everyone has cause to know that the Pope and the Queen and their corporations have very limited and carefully stipulated powers that are spelled out in our constitutions. They are expected to observe that neither the Pope nor the Queen are granted any right or ability to control our land or our soil, and that they have both colluded in breach of trust against the states and people they are contractually bound to serve in good faith. If the UN is worth salt, they can make sure that the Brits pay for crimes they have engendered throughout the world, including on our shores, without our knowledge or consent. It seems that such measures are necessary, because in over 200 such international incidents that we have investigated, not just bioweapons, but drugs and oil and insurrections and illicit arms sales, illegal seizures of property, false claims of authority, human trafficking, etc., the UK has proven unable to mind its own business and keep its predatory corporations on a leash. The Brits have been at the bottom of every problem we can think of with truly astonishing regularity, and the current dis-ease is no exception. It's not worth blowing London off the face of the earth along with Rome, New York, and Washington, D.C., but it is certainly worth suing the corporations and principals causing these problems for trillions of dollars in lost business and as aid to grieving families, that is, some direct recompense for lost lives and earnings.